This is a quick SpecView tech tips video on dynamic buttons. Previously it's not been possible to change the text on a button, it is what it is, but now from build 3.1.265 you can do dynamic text. So as an example, I've got a very small project here with a couple of user variables. I'll stick that on the screen there just so you can see it later. Just as an aside, you can toggle booleans on and off using a math function in here, where if we put the boolean in all three places and subtract it, this toggles it on and off. Let's have a quick go at that. So there's the bool. It's not just on and off, it's running stopped in this particular case. So it would be nice to have this status actually in the button, and that's where dynamic button text comes in. So in addition to whatever text you might want to put yourself, you can also put the value of a variable by placing that variable in percent signs in here. So in this case, pump status is %% bool1 because that's the name of my variable, and that's what it shows up as when we're offline, and then when we're online, pump status is stopped. So now when I click the button, it toggles the pump on and off. A silly example maybe, but it shows that the text on the button can now be altered. So to take that one step further, we could put any piece of text somewhere. Ooh, artifacts. And we could just have that in percent signs. So the whole button is just purely made up of whatever text it is you specify. So it says hello there. You could have it say start me, and so on. So dynamic text, you can do whatever you like. So it's useful in, well, three main areas. You can display the status of something on the button as I did previously. You can have whatever text you like based on that. And it would also be nice if you had something like a recipe screen where you could have the name of the program as part of the button. So for example, if I make this into a recipe screen by putting a number on the screen and ungrouping it and putting it into recipe, I'm just going to nip into, I'll use a different button for this later, I'll nip into runtime just to set up a couple of recipes on my number. So here in recipe management, in fact I've got a couple. So this is left over from a previous demo. So let's just change this, save it as aging 2, and let's save another one as annealing 2. So I've got a couple of recipes, and when you've got recipes in SpecView you can see which was the last recipe you downloaded, because a recipe section appears with most recent recipe names. Let's just put that on the screen there just for grins or artifacts. So we could have our button also include the recipe name. So for example, start program, and I'm going to change this to a copy from, just so that I can drag the name into here, because it's a lot easier to drag than type. So again, %% SpecView1, which is the name of my screen, which is up here, SpecView1 name of my screen, it's in here. Dot recipe name, you can't see the ending %%, but it's there. And what you would actually probably do is to do parameters download specific value, because this is a start program. You would actually kick off the programmer by choosing the run action or whatever it is. I'm not actually going to do that because I don't have anything connected, but I can show the recipe name in here. I can't spell annealing, whatever that is. So if we download the proper aging recipe, the button updates to aging, and if we download the annealing recipe, it says start program annealing. So useful feedback as to what program is going to be run next, even though you could have it on the screen as well. So those are a few different ways that you can use dynamic button text to make it a little bit more useful for the user. In terms of the bool running one, you could also use color dynamics to make the button go sort of red or green depending on whether it was started or stopped and things like that. Any questions, give us a shout.